So I'd like to talk to you about a very important and extremely common reason of feeling tired: lifestyle. Food, nutrition, sleep, and exercise, really. It is like a triangle. So it has to be very well balanced so that we can continue to live really well. So let's talk about food. If we are not eating fresh vegetables, freshly cooked food, we really are consuming what is called dead food. Dead food means food that is delicious, I'm sure, but it is derived of proper nutrition. So all the vitamins in it is being killed by over-processing, by reheating, by microwaving. So it is very important that we eat a fresh produce, we eat fresh vegetables, some fruit, not a lot because of the sugar content. However, vegetables you can eat as much as you like. If you feel you can't really eat much, juice them, smoothie them, and as long as you have them. So food plays a big part in tiredness. And having takeaways once in a while is nothing wrong with that. But if it is more than that, please reconsider and have a look at what you're eating. We tend also not to sleep well, and that can be damaging to health, and that causes tiredness, lots of it really. And also we can become out of focus. So sleep deprivation has lots of unpleasant and indeed pathological consequences. Whether it is a habit which we can work on to change, or if there are reasons, sleep disturbance because of stress, then please don't ignore it. Have a talk with your doctor. Find out the reasons why you cannot sleep. It really is very important. Then exercise. When I say exercise, it doesn't really mean everybody should be in the gym. Walk, just walk. You know, go every day. What is really, medically speaking, what is required of us is to walk 30 minutes a day, brisk walk, 5 days a week. How simple is that? It really is beautiful. Walking is fantastic. Dancing is brilliant. Dance at home, put a music on and dance. Going to the gym if you enjoy, that's brilliant. Any type of exercise to keep you going would be wonderful because the body will be refreshed. Good hormones will be produced like endorphins, the serotonins. Then you feel better. Then you can sleep even better. And then that encourages you to eat better. Always remember, there are a couple of things in food that can cause health damage. Number one is sugar. So high sugar content of any source, indeed, including fruit and fruit juices, can create inflammation, general inflammation in the body, tiredness. People can be severely tired simply because of the high sugar content. And some of us are prone with a family history to become diabetic. So please be aware of that. That is a very important point. Keep it in mind. The other food item is salt. Salt can be poisonous. This is no exaggeration. High salt can affect the kidneys, the liver, increase the blood pressure, put a huge amount of strain on our brain, reaching it with the high salt content. So many people have the habit of sprinkling sprinkling salt on their food without even tasting it. So let's not do that. And if you are cooking at home, then please reduce your salt content, maybe increase your spices and herbs. But please also remember, takeaway food is usually salty, more salty than one would need to eat. The next cause of tiredness is food intolerance, which is a subject that I am really intrigued by. Food intolerances are extremely common, much common than we really think. Some communities are intolerant to certain foods more than others. All depends on our genetics and our ethnic background. For example, lactose intolerance. Lactose is the sugar of milk. Milk is formed from protein and sugar. So there is milk protein and there is milk sugar, and this milk sugar is called lactose. So lactose intolerance really is about 70% of people have lactose intolerance. And that is really a staggering percentage, but we don't know about it. So lactose intolerance, so if we have milk and cheese and yogurts that contain lactose and we are intolerant, what is intolerant means? It means we can't digest it, really. We don't have what it takes to digest it. We have enzymes, certain specific chemicals to digest food. So the enzyme to digest lactose is called lactase. Some of us don't have it or have very little of it. So when we eat lactose, our body doesn't know how to deal with it. So it stays inside our stomach for quite a while. Then it goes into the gut, and then it can create inflammation. It can create making the little holes inside our gut to absorb nutrition. They become bigger, so lactose can seep out into the blood and create lots of issues and inflammation, and people can have loose stools, diarrhea, stomach pain, but feel very tired. It's that simple. There are some tests to be done. It's not really common, it's not cheap, but the best thing will be if it really is just to get dairy out of your diet and see how you feel. And there are non-dairy milk and cheese and yogurt are available everywhere nowadays. The other common food intolerance is fructose. Fructose is the sugar of fruit. So fruits are sweet and lovely and taste great because they have a fructose. And every time you eat portions, at least 5 portions of fruit, and people do their best to do that. But if they are fructose intolerant, really the results are extremely negative. They become overly tired, extremely tired. Muscle ache and joint pain because of a fructose intolerance. The skin can be affected also. But the most important point is tiredness. And the more tired, unfortunately, these people feel, they go and eat more fruits because they think it will make them better. So also consider that. This doesn't mean that you ever not going to have a fruit. It means go for the lower sugar fruit, like berries. They have really quite a low hypoglycemic index. Strawberries, cherries, blueberries, and I would avoid grapes and bananas. But if you suspect that and you have the other symptoms I've mentioned, maybe go on a no fruit for perhaps a couple of weeks and see how you feel. And then introduce them again. And if you develop symptoms, then you know exactly what is going on. A very important reason for tiredness is our gut health. What does gut health mean? You know, our digestive system starts from the mouth all the way down. The gut is called the intestine. We have a small intestine and we have large intestine. The small intestine, or the small gut, absorbs nutrition. So when we eat, our stomach digests and then it passes on to the gut, and all important nutrition is absorbed, goes to the blood to serve all our cells according to what is needed. Then the leftovers go into the large intestine where water and salt is absorbed, and then the rest will be discarded. Inside our gut, the large intestine, there is bacteria, which is called the good bacteria. This good bacteria is naturally occurring there since we were babies and start eating. So this natural bacteria, the good bacteria, is very important. And perhaps some of you will be surprised when I tell you 80% of our immunity comes from there. And it produces serotonin as much, if not more, than the brain does. So this is why gut health is so very important for our immunity, for our well-being, and indeed for us feeling happy. So what do we need to do to maintain good gut health? Bad food, forgive me calling it bad food, I mean unhealthy food, junk food, overcooked food, microwave ready meals food, that can change the pH of the gut, affecting the growth of and the strength of our good bacteria. And that will mean it can be replaced by other pathogens, other germs, like yeast, for example, which can play havoc in our gut with systemic symptoms and consequences, particularly tiredness, bloating, gases, lack of focus. This is all to do with our gut health, in addition to having weaker immune system and feeling generally in low mood. So what we need to do to protect it? Again, we eat fresh food. Fresh vegetables are fantastic. Low sugars, low salt. Taking enough water every single day to replenish our body, but that is also very much needed for our gut health. And taking probiotics. Probiotics is the good bacteria, but it is being made into a capsule form as a freezer-dried bacteria, billions of doses. So I would recommend perhaps 30 billion, 50 billion, depends on how you feel. And to take that once a day, that will help replenish the good bacteria. Now, if there is yeast overgrowth inside our gut, it's really very similar to the yeast we use to bake bread. You add the yeast, there is sugar, because that's what it likes, and then it starts fermenting. So it will eat up the gluten, which is the protein of the wheat, in the flour, and then it turns it into sugar, and it turns it into, and part of it as the byproduct is carbon dioxide, the gas. And this is why bread is rises. But the same thing happens inside our gut. So you get the yeast, you have the sugar, and then it starts making the sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. And I tell you, the sugar that is turned into alcohol could be, the amount of alcohol could be so high when when you test it, which I did on some patients, it was 2 or 3 times the legal driving limit for alcohol. It was incredible, seriously. But it can make us feel so tired, reduces alcohol intolerance. It means after a glass, maybe a smaller glass of wine, people feel they've had enough, or they feel very tired afterwards because they've already have alcohol inside their blood. And to avoid all of this and to really feel better and maintain this treasure of good bacteria that we have that give us health and good life for the rest of our journey in life, please eat healthy, do your exercise, drink plenty of water, avoid sugar and salt, and take your probiotics.